Ben Shapiro is the author of The Authoritarian Moment, How the Left Weaponized America's Institutions Against Dissent, and host of The Ben Shapiro Show. He joins us now. Ben, I wish that I was surprised by what I saw play out in front of us today. Then again, I live in the great Commonwealth of Virginia, where we still have Governor Ralph Northam, who literally everyone called on to resign, and is still there campaigning across the country, campaigning across the counties today for his would-be successor. What are your thoughts on what you saw today from Letitia James, and your thoughts on Andrew Cuomo?
You know, Governor Cuomo came into office to grab ass and kill the elderly, and he's all out of elderly. And the fact that Letitia James, laid out this enormous case about sexual harassment and sexual pressure and retaliatory work environment and all of this, and then she said, and I'm not going to do anything about it, kind of tells you how this is about to play out. You'll recall, as you just mentioned, that everyone called on Ralph Northam to resign, and then Joe Biden was campaigning with Ralph Northam. The rule in the Democratic Party, at least, is that you either die a hero, live long enough to become a villain, or live even longer than that and then become a hero again with whom you campaign and fundraise. You know,
one of the things that your book really touches on is the demand that people have in this time to have more authority from government. Even as the faith in institutions decays, there's this odd thing that happens where, as we've seen, happen in Mexico and places around the world, where more authority is given to these folks who have already shown themselves completely terrible when it comes to using it. Do you believe in this instance that Cuomo is just going to hold on to power as hard as he can and just keep fighting back against this, ignoring what Biden is saying, ignoring what other party leaders are saying, and just, and taking the lesson that as long as you have that authority, you should never give it up?
Absolutely. No one wants to be Al Franken and be the guy who left office when they could have just stayed and then lived it through. I actually think that what you're probably about to see from Governor Cuomo is sort of a wag the mask situation in which the Delta variant is used as an excuse for him to push new measures that are really authoritarian in nature. And then he'll be cheered by the press again for not being Ron DeSantis, because there really is a desire by a lot of people out there to be controlled from above. And even if their leaders are corrupt and venal and terrible the way that Governor Cuomo is, remember, all of this controversy is not about how he killed half the elderly people in New York, right? The DOJ actually dropped an active investigation into his cover-up of that. We're just talking about something we've known for a long time, which is that he treats women horribly. The fact for Cuomo is that if he wishes to regain any sense of popularity and credibility, my guess is that he's going to go big again once more on COVID.
You know how corrupt the media is when it comes to covering these types of situations for politicians who have the ideological views that they have, or close enough to it, they have the right party letter after their name. I know that in Northam's case, as soon as it became apparent that he wasn't going to be replaced, he wasn't going to be standing down, the media essentially went silent and pretended like this wasn't something that they needed to still be asking about. Do you expect Democrats to actually have to answer for what's going on here with Andrew Cuomo in the coming weeks, or do you believe, similarly to last time around, and certainly knowing his connections over at CNN, that he's going to be able to escape that kind of media pressure?
Oh, no, this will be one news cycle and then gone. It was a news cycle a few months ago, and then it was gone. So I would expect this to be exactly the same thing. All we have to do to figure it out is just watch the human windsock, Kristen Gillibrand, and she'll tell us in a couple of weeks whether or not this is blown over.
You know, your book is a very interesting and timely one because it speaks to, I think, all of these different things we're worried about in the wake of this pandemic, that America is going to invest even more authority in our governmental leaders who have shown themselves so incapable of rising to this moment and so terrible at actually putting forth policies that made things better in so many instances. What can be done to push back against this authoritarian impulse as we see it across the country? What can individuals do in their communities and states to make sure that this doesn't happen?
We really do need to band together at this point. There's no question that if we get together a group of intransigent and aggressive people together with our allies, that we do formulate the majority. I think that there's been a very hardcore minority of left-wingers who've been able to cow people into silence and then move forward incrementally. And a lot of people, out of politeness or out of apathy, have done nothing. I think that the left has pushed too far too fast, and I think the blowback is coming, and 2022 is just going to be the beginning of it.
Thank you, Ben, and good luck with the book. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.